Hello and welcome back to this tutorial series. In this episode we will take a look on widgets and we will try to open the store back there and finish the level. So let's go. First of all, let's open up the Hour of Code folder and the widgets folder. As you can see, there are some pre-configured widgets. If you want to create something by your own, you go right click, use interface, widget. It can display the amount of coins or some other icons, the health, etc. Let's open up the HUD. This stands for Head Up Display. We have some pre-configured parts here. So we have an image, another image, a text and another text. As you can see, you can basically drag and drop some new parts inside here like this. Also, as you can see, we can't see anything here, but we have a brush for a key. The reason for this is, let's open up the color and opacity. The opacity is set to 0. You can see this as well on this arrow here. This means the default value was changed. So when we click on this arrow here, the image shows up. But of course, since the key is not in our inventory at the beginning, we don't want to see it. So let's set the opacity back to 0 as well for the jump boost. We have a count counter. We will set this, in this case, to opacity of 1, but we will remove the 0 because we will set it later. As well, let's go back to our level, and as you can see, we have a locked door widget. Let's open this up. It just has a text which says key needed. So we just copy and paste this in our canvas panel here, like that, and we'll set the opacity as well to 0. We will need this later for our door. Also very important, when we take a look on this image, for example, it has a name that is t-key. Of course, you can call it whatever you want. And the is variable is checked, which means we can use all of these as a variable later. But as you see, the key needed text is not a variable. So we change this by just checking this checkbox here. This here is the designer. Of course, we have also an event graph. So let's open up this as well. As you can see, it's pretty similar to a normal event graph from a character, for example. We have also the graphs here, the functions and the variables. And as you can see, we have already the variables from our text and the images because we checked the is variable checkbox. Also, we have some custom events here. If you want to create a custom event by your own, you go just right click, add custom event. But we don't need it here. So we have the update coins and the update gems function. We don't need the update gems currently, so we can delete it. And as always, it calls to the third-person game mode. From the last part, as you know, we put everything inside the game instance. So we delete this one here, as well as this one. Get the game instance. Calls to our my instance. And like last time, we get the coins. And we connect it to this convert here. So what it does is it writes the text coins, then append the amount of the coins that we collect in our instance, and set it to the text, in this case the coin counter, so the text element in our widget. Like that. Compile and save this. So we're basically done inside our widget here, so we can close this. The next part is we want to display it in our view when we play. For this, let's go back to our character. So we open up the third-person blueprint, blueprints, epic character. And when you scroll down here to activity 5, you can already see there's an implementation of the widgets. So we delete everything here, just have the begin play event. This will trigger just one time at the beginning of the game. First of all, we take this out here and say create widget. Now we can select a widget that we want. So let's go back to our Hour of Code, widgets, and select the W HUD. Go back to our epic character and hit this arrow here. So now it says create W HUD widget. To make it easier around the level, we just go from the return value and say promote to variable. In this way, it creates a variable for us that we can now name. In this case, just widget. Then we want that the coin count appears For this, we go from the widget and say update coins. So exactly the custom event that updates our coin count. And at the end, we go again from the widget and say add to viewport. And when we now hit play, you can see the coins and the amount in the left corner. When we pick up a coin, nothing happened. Of course, we need to change this as well. So let's open up the coins again. We have this development only print string, so we will delete it. And since we cast to the epic character, we can go from the epic character, get the widget, so the variable. And the good part is we can just call the update coins function from here. So we connect it, compile and save this. And when we now hit play and collect the coin, it counts up. Because now it updates the widget every time we collect a coin. Let's do the same thing for the jump boost and the key. So let's select the jump boost, open this up as well. Again, since we cast to our epic character, we can take the return value, go back to here, get the widget. In this case, we want to get the jump boost part, so the image in this case, and want to set the opacity from here. In this case, we are at the end of the function, so we want to set it to 0 because the jump boost disappears. So let's copy this in front of the function. So we take this one out here. Before the delay, uncheck this one. Put this right here. Connect it. We have a target here. This is of course the epic character. So it overlaps with the character, set the jump velocity, disappears the static mesh and the collision, play the sound, then set the opacity of our jump boost widget, in this case of course to 1. Then we have the delay of 4 seconds, it appears again in the level, set the velocity back to normal, and now we set the opacity of our jump boost widget, so the image, back to 0. This means when we hit play and collect the jump boost, you can see the image of the jump boost for 4 seconds, and then it disappears and we can jump normally again. Let's do the same thing for the key. Again, select the key. And in this case, we just need to activate it. So again, since we cast to the epic character, get the widget, get the key, in this case the T key, so the image again, and want to set the opacity again to 1. Compile and save this, so we can close this, all of this here. So we hit play, we can collect the key here, we can see it in the left corner, we can collect this jump boost here as well, see it for 4 seconds, we can collect coins. Next, we go to our door here, because now we have the key and want to open this door. But it still says key needed, so we need to change this. We select the door frame here and open this up. As always, let's take a look on the viewport. We have a static mesh, so the door itself, we have a box collision, a text, another static mesh, so the door frame, and another text which says press E to open. We can close the rest and open up the event graph. Like always, let's delete everything inside here and make it our own. We cast to our epic character here, then we take out this boolean here which says door open. Then we need a branch. There are 2 ways to get a branch. We say right click and search for branch, or we hold the B button and just click. So we have a branch to ask, is the door open, true or false? On false, this means the door is closed. We want to check, does the player has a key? In this case, we again get the game instance, want to cast to our instance on false. Then we get the has key boolean, need another branch. On true, we want to set the text. So we go again from the epic character, get the widget. This time we want to get the key needed text. Want to set the opacity up here. So he has the key, we want to set the opacity to 0. And down here, we want to set the opacity to 1. As well, we need a new event, so let's open up the details of the box collision. This time we use the onComponent end overlap, which means when we go away from the door, we want that the text disappears. So let's put this right here. Again, we cast to our epic character. But this time we just need the widget again, get the key needed text, and want to set the opacity to 0. As well, we want to activate this interact input action here. For this, let's go to the end where we set the opacity, get the player controller. The player controller activates some inputs and other things that we need in the game. For this, we enable the input in this case for the player controller like that, and disable the input again for the player controller. So be sure that you connect it with the player controller, not with the target. On false here, like that. As you can see, we have an input action interact. Let's take a look on that. Let's go back to our level here, settings, project settings. With Unreal Engine 5, there are now different inputs. So when you select the input tag here, it already says that the axis and action mappings are now deprecated, which means the actions that are selected here are working, of course, but they are not the new action mappings. We will take a look in further episodes on this one. For now, let's just keep the action mappings. So we have the interact here, which is on the E key. We can close this as well here and go back to our door here. And as you can see, we have the input action interact. Again, we want to delete all of this except for the sound play, and we have the door animation. We set the door as open, and we can delete as well this part here. So let's put this more in front, like this one. In this case, we can just go from here and copy and paste this whole part here down here, because we want to check the same thing. We cast to our game instance, get the has key boolean, has a branch, and on true, we want to play the sound, open up the door, and check the door open to true. So let's compile and save this and see if this works. We hit play, we pick up the key here, go to the door, collect some coins on the way, go in front of the door and press E. The sound is playing and the door is open. So we finished the level and we now need to place an end point here. We go back to our out of code folder, blueprints, and we have this end goal blueprint. Let's put this at the end right here and open this up. Let's take a look. We have this animation for the crystals and as well the onComponent begin overlap, where we pause the game and create another widget, add it to the viewport. We have this remove widget function. We can delete it. We don't need it in our case. So let's go for the final widget with the browse here in the content browser. Open this up. So we have this congratulation sign, basically within an image, and multiply text signs here. Let's take a look on the event graph. We have our game mode. We have a sequence. A sequence will handle multiply tasks in a row. It's for a better overview in our case. We have the game time, the coins, and the gems. So we don't use gems in our case, so we can delete it if you want. And the coins are in our game instance. So for that, let's unplug this one here, get our game instance, cast to our instance that we created. And like always, we get our coins. We can uncheck this one here, put it right here, and then connect it. Compile and save this. Let's go for a final run. So we hit play, take the key here, take some coins on the way, go to the door, press E, and then finish the level. We take 20 seconds, we have collected 4 coins, no gems. Great! So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial series. If you have any questions, please let me know, and yeah, goodbye.